Hello guys, and welcome to another timeless video with me, Razor. And the reason why I call this one a timeless video, guys, is because I am going to explain a few tips and give you a bit of a guide into the Timeless Isle, and also just to see what would work best really for farming that mount, which is from the Ordos Order, which you need 500 coins from. So to get started, guys, I just wanted to say I've been obviously back on my Priest for a good month and I think about a week now, and I've seemed to have completed the grind for that mount just about today, and I wanted to leave the last coin for this video. And the reason why I wanted to do that is because I wanted to show you some stuff that I've picked up along the line, and just to show you the tips that I've got for you guys to get the best out of killing in Timeless Isle, and as I like to put it, hunting other players. And it is hunting other players, and I know a lot of people out there might think, actually, you know, with the Ordos buff you can go into Battlegrounds and get more kills. Most likely than not, in Alliance, when you're in Battlegrounds, you'll have the boosted level 90 players trying to get some gear on their new level 90s, and that means that they are very unexperienced, they are not likely to be very strong, and most strong PvPers would probably be putting their time into either arena or battlegrounds, and you end up having the shortfall, and therefore it is unlikely that you will be getting much coins. And of course, the way that the Ordos buff works outside of the Timeless Isle means that it has a 10-minute cooldown and it lasts for 10 minutes, which means it only resets every time you are off the buff, and therefore it is difficult to put it back on in a battleground if you've lost it. So that means you've got to live basically the whole time. Whereas if you were on the Timeless Isle, like I am going to give the guide for here, it means that you have two that you can use. You can either have the kill all buff, where you can have, kill every other player, and you can also have the Ordos buff here as well. But I want to explain to anybody who hasn't been to the Timeless Isle before, or maybe you have been and don't understand it quite as well. It's that basically you get buffs in the Timeless Isle that help you to really pile on the pressure and become a lot better in terms of DPS or healing or even tanking, in the form of various different sources in which you can get these buffs. So just to start, I'll tell you what buffs I would recommend for a Shadow Priest, and what buffs you guys should have to maximize your DPS and maximize the kills, and also kill as efficiently and as swiftly as possible to not be noticed. Now before I do that, guys, I want to just explain that I am on Dragonmoor. Dragonmoor is a PvP server. Dragonmoor is also very heavily on the Horde side, and it's probably less than half of the Horde in terms of how many numbers there are on the Alliance. That means that it's a pretty good place to farm enemy players. Now with this, which is the Firewatcher's Oath, that is the Ordos buff that you get, which has it gives you this buff called Firewatcher's Oath, which basically binds you to Ordos, and what it does is it allows you to kill like you would normally kill Horde, but also gives you the bloody coins, which is the vital resource that you need, which goes into your resource tab, and then you can buy stuff with from the Ordos vendor, which is like the mount itself. So guys, what I was going to say is the most vital buff that you can get, and I'll explain to you where you can get it from once we get going here, is called the Chi-Ji's Hope. Now Chi-Ji's Hope is probably the best for a Shadow Priest, and the reason why I would say this simply because Shadow Priests tend to do a lot of damage, and if you're doing a lot of damage, that is an amazing buff that increases your crit by 25%, your haste by 25%, and your mastery, and that all really counts well for Shadow Priests because they are the stats that we want to stack. Obviously haste being the most important one, and it gives you 61.17 haste when you've got it stacked. Also gives you crit at 48.21. that means every other hit on crit is going to be double or triple the damage. And then it obviously gives you the mastery, which is the echoes, which means that you get more procs out of your dots. So moving on, I want to show you guys the stones that you can get these buffs from very briefly. There's one over here just where I was recording the intro, and it is, as you can see, it's glowing at the moment, which means you can just click on it, right click on it and it will allow you to get a buff which could be either Chi-Chi's Hope or it could be one of 3 others, which I don't want to go into right now, or I don't want to get it right now really because I don't want to lose Chi-Chi's Hope. The other ones do include a damage reduction buff which reduces the damage you take by 25% I believe, and then you get one that increases your damage by 15%, and then you get one that increases your overall stats by 20%. Now it's debatable as to what is best for your class out of all of them, but definitely for Shadow Priest it is Chi-Chi's Hope, because you get, I think even for damage overall for any class, Chi-Chi's Hope is the one to go for, because it just increases your crit, and that increases your damage, you know, tenfold really compared to like 15% increase. And plus for us, because we're procs, because we are dots, sorry, you do get more dots from the echoes, shadowy recalls, and you also get more procs anyway because of the haste. So all in all, it works really well for Shadow Priests. Now, what I also want to explain to you guys is how I have set up and how I play Timeless Isle, and what I would recommend if you were thinking of farming players. You would notice here that I've got my Prideful and some Grievous, and I've got some PvE as well. Now the reason why is because purely at the moment PvE gear gives you a lot more health, and damage wise, if you have these buffs, so if you don't, it does do a heck of a lot of damage, and you will probably end up doing more damage with PvE gear than you would in PvP. Obviously this not being arena and not being battlegrounds. So what I want to do is I want to just stand it here as safety, because what I've been doing in the last month or so, I've built a lot of enemies on this island, and a lot of them probably want me dead if they see me. So I want to go into just why I've chosen to go with, obviously I have my PvP weapons because I think those are irreplaceable because of the PvP power, but I do have Yulon's Bite. I really recommend you guys try to get one of the trinkets from either Raid Finder or just normal raid, but I would farm Yulon's Bite purely because it gives you such a nice damage increase through critical strikes, and also gives you fully, if it's fully upgraded, it gives you 1923 intellect. Now this gives you a huge amount towards your overall damage output, and also obviously gives you a much nicer buff every 115 seconds, so just under 2 minutes, and it will give it to you, I think it increases it 15% chance, yeah, 115% cooldown. Basically it gives you it for 20 seconds as well, just a nice lasting buff for when you're trying to burst. So moving on into burst, this is what I have as a current setup, and the reason I'll go into each. Solace and Insanity purely because it's the biggest burst that we have. You can see here that I've gone with Power Infusion, which is the next one I think you guys probably think might not be the best choice, but again I am looking for swift, quick kills and as efficient as possible, and I'll go into the tactics of why I'm using this in a minute, but it does do the job. So Power Infusion gives you 5% obviously 5% damage increase, increase your haste by 20%, which is crazy amount when you consider that I've already got 61% here, and it also reduces the mana cost of all spells by 20%, which is another little buff that you get, which is also good. So when you are running and hunting for players, make sure you are buffed as much as you can be. I mean, there are other buffs including Book of Ages, which gives you 8,000 intellect as well as a proc, which also increases your damage by a lot basically, and this one also, Dew of Eternal Morning, is a heal basically, it's a heal proc, so that's also good. So get as many of them as you can. The most obvious one that you can get is the apples that you see around. You just grab that, it gives you 5% buff to all of your stats, and it will basically just help you do that a little bit more damage and make it swifter and easier. Now what I like to call this type of farming, I'd like to call it sniping, because that's what you're potentially doing. There are too many hordes on the server, and therefore I've adopted this strategy to make it as efficient as possible. Now I'm going to show you my first kind of slight exploit in this place, and that's by using you need to be an engineer or you need to be a priest. So what you do is you make your way all the way to the fatigued area of the Timeless Isle, as I'm doing here, and then when you see the fatigue bar come up, you can usually mount and then you'll be able to fly up. So if you fly up, you can, as a priest, aim and line up so that you can land on the second stomp just ahead of us here. You can see the first stomp here just before the courtyard and arena, and then there is a second one. Now it's easy to do when you've got the engineering Goblin Glider, because that you can control and go left and right and whatever else, but you obviously cannot control it when you're doing levitate. But if you aim it correctly, you can get there. So I'm going to do it this way just to save some time. So what you want to do is land on the second stomp here, and you do this by rotating. Ooh, almost went off there. Right, so the reason why I find this a good spot to farm, number one is, as you can see, most people respawn there, and they respawn after being killed basically. Now either that or they respawn after being killed by the bosses, by the Celestials. So what this does is it gives you a good safe place where no melee can reach you, to be, well, apart from rogues I think, but you can easily take care of rogues, it's not a problem. It gives you a safe place where no melee can reach you. Not all of the attacks and skills can reach you, but what does happen is you do get reach over them. As you can see from here, I can cast, for example, a Mind Blast, and you can see how much kind of damage and output I'm doing at the moment because it's just so high. Oh, and I got the Blaze Binder. Right, so this is a good place, purely as I say, because it's safe, it's out of the way, and if you need to escape you can do. What I usually do is I levitate, I bubble, levitate, and then I cast Spectral Geist, and then what that does is basically it takes you down here and you can hide and run into the guarded areas where they won't be able to chase you. Now as you can see, anybody who spawns there, I can aim and I can take care of them, and you can pretty much have better reach, and they need to be around here, so around you somewhere, to be able to actually reach you. And this guy wants to take me on, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and demonstrate some of the DPS strength that I've got, and as you can see, he won't do it. He won't take it, so he's going to run away. But as you can see, just from dots I've got him down to half life, and that's without even just having... Oh look, and he's taking a lot of damage from other things, and that's without even casting Insanity Flays. So you know, it's really, really strong, the overall kind of DPS that you can do from having all these buffs on. What I'm going to do here though is I'm going to levitate to the next area that I've been farming. Now this one is a little bit more dangerous because people can just generally reach you in every sense, so I'm going to cast my invisibility so that nobody sees me, but this one gives you more access to other players, but without you being in danger of being reached by the guards. You can attack anybody here and the guards won't touch you, so it's very useful for that, and it will allow you more time, and it will allow you to get a few more of those bloody coins. Now when you're in a horde server, as you can see, very heavily horde, there are lots of them obviously during more prime time, like from 7 to 11 or whatever, during the day, during game time, and you know, people come and farm these Celestials and you get a lot more chance of killing more horde, but at the same time there are more of them, so they do like to take revenge on you. They do like to keep you ganked if they can, especially, as I say from before, there are a lot of them that have built quite a lot of hate for me because I've been hunting them quite continuously on some occasions. But hey, as I say to all the whisperers out there, if you do watch my videos, I thank you first of all for watching my videos, but as you know, the message I want to pass on to you guys is I'm not doing it purposefully. I'm doing it because I'm collecting the coins, and I know a lot of you come onto my server and send me these messages like, I don't want to repeat any of them to be honest, but there is a lot of hate messages because I kill, I don't know, one person and I kill another person and then you kill another person. I don't know, sometimes I kill 3 in a row, purely because I'm trying to farm as much as possible, and they try and combat you back, but because I've got so many of the buffs on, it's just really difficult for them to try and to actually beat me one-on-one. But as I say, it's nothing personal. It's the game. It's me trying to just basically complete a part of the game, and I'm not doing it out of spite or anything else. I do get ganked quite often sometimes, because I do obviously kill a lot of people, but that's okay. I mean, I expect it. Again, it's part of the game. It's meant to be a world PvP, and I have no complaints. So guys, what you want to do, you want to be very careful when you attack somebody. You have all your buffs, you have all your damage, you are so kind of, you know, well equipped and ready to fight. But remember that in a populated server, you will have more than one player walking around, running around. And if you attack one, generally they are loyal to their faction, and they will attack you if they see you attacking another person of their faction, especially if they're AFK. And I'm not saying that it is don't attack AFKers. No, AFKers is the easiest kills, and you know, it gives you a good you know, turn of bloody coins when you attack AFKers, and they don't really respond. So it's a win-win. But what tends to happen is people will see that they're AFK and you're attacking them, and then they tend to attack you instead. Fine, that's absolutely fine. I'm okay with that as well. But just be careful. So what I do usually is I have a few farming spots that I want to mention. One is the inn. A lot of people come into here and just log in and go somewhere else, get a drink or something like that, and then they wait for the loading screen. And when they do load in, they usually stand there for a while. So they're very good to kill, and you don't get any guards coming next to you or attacking you. There are some people that just stand there as well, just before they log out, so you can kill them very quickly as well. So moving on, my next good farming spot is obviously going to be by the quest giver. The daily quest giver usually has a lot of them, and it's also a respawn point for the grave for kills. So it's like a graveyard respawn point here, and it's a very good area to kill enemy players, and usually there's a lot of AFKs there as well. Now the third point is, I mean, this is what I usually do anyway. I kind of rotate around the court here and just see who's AFK or who's going to be an easy kill. Some players, obviously PvE wise, some players, excuse me, have a lot of life, and it's not unlikely that I'll be able to take them down in, let's say, 2-3 seconds. So I tend not to attack them, although if I see that they may be AFK, or maybe I can take them after a silence, give me 5 seconds space, I do so. So from here, guys, you can reach anybody in that court on the other side of the fence, because you're just above the fence, so your line of sight can reach them. So if there's anybody there, you can do so. And you can also go here. Now, obviously, as you know, from where I landed before, I was up there. It makes it very difficult to see when you're up there, so nobody can see you. You can still attack them. You know, they get ganked, and they don't really know obviously what's hit them for a while, so that gives you an advantage, and it's good to know a good position to protect yourself against. Alright, let me just heal. Okay. So some people have this buff, I think, that allows them to not be attacked by the guards, and I don't know what it is, to be honest. I don't know how to get it. But anyway, I'm okay to die. I've done everything that I need to do. I've gotten my last coin, so I am very happy to be killed by somebody else who is farming. So anyway, let's continue without the buffs. Let's continue. Obviously you lose most of the stuff that you get when you die, but that's fine. What you want to do is, if you want to have somebody who's over this side, obviously again this is a raised area, so you can actually, it's almost designed to be like that. You can actually target people behind the fence, and just keep rotating. If you keep going, it will be very good for farming players. And just make sure when you do so, like for example, I see this mage in here, I look around to see if there's anyone else coming. I know I've only got, let's say, a 30-second or a 40-second kill or whatever it is, but I'm looking around to see, is there going to be anybody there? Even if I can kill them in, let's say, 2 or 3 seconds, I have to know that there's not going to be nobody else that's going to kind of attack me in the meantime. So look around before you do so. Also, if you stand somewhere obvious, like out in the open, people will see you and they'll come and attack you. So try to stand somewhere a little bit more, you know, secluded, a little bit more kind of away, but at the same time, make sure you're not near any guards. And when you attack as swiftly and as quickly as possible. Get all your power out at once, and then just keep going until that player is dead. Obviously without the buffs, I've not got as much influence, but you can see I can kind of pop everything, and it takes only a few seconds for them to die. And as you can see, you attacking somebody else attracts attention. What you want to do is quickly, guys, go somewhere else, mount up, and don't attract too much attention. That way you're basically getting what you want, but stopping anybody else from getting or killing you. Obviously it takes a while to get these buffs back. I'll demonstrate this by going to one of these stones to try and get the buff again. This one is not active. Obviously I want to buff myself here. Now, as I say, I'm probably not going to get Gigi's Hope again. It doesn't, obviously, it's a 25% chance of actually coming up out of the 4. So the other ones are good as well, although they're not as quick for this strategy in terms of killing other players. As you can see, I've got the damage reduction one, which means I get 25% damage reduction, which is pretty good, to be honest, if you're let's say a healer, so you've got much more survivability. It doesn't really work that well though against somebody who has got Gigi's Hope. It seems like it's almost underpowered for how powerful Gigi's Hope is, because Gigi's Hope gives you 25% increase to an already high amount of critical strike rating, an already high amount of mastery and haste. That 25% damage reduction is minor compared to having that much damage output. Okay, these things are annoying. So what you want to do is really keep with Gigi's Hope, and don't put anything in your bag that you won't make much use of. I've tested all of them, to be honest. Sometimes it's obviously random, so sometimes Gigi's Hope will just not come up and I get frustrated, so I just start using the other buffs. And even though in disc and with disc PvP gear, I've not been able to actually last that much against, let's say, 3 or 4 players. Yeah, okay, maybe that's a bit overshooting it, but I've not really had much luck lasting a lot against anybody with this buff on. But it has its uses. If you are a full-on healer, then you probably do find it useful. Although still, I think Gigi's Hope with the critical heals is quite good, and the haste, so you can pump out those heals a lot quicker. And whatever your mastery does for you must help as well. So all in all, I think Gigi's Hope is probably the best for farming the coins and the mount. And so guys, I want to leave you with just one final message. Just keep going with this. It does take a little bit long, but if you do the snipe and quick in and out strategy, you will get a lot of burst. You will get very, very quick kills, and it will be very easy for you to really just do this. I mean, I've come back to play my priest just over 3 weeks ago, and when I came back, I think I was on like 27 or something, or 30, and I've managed to get 470 bloody coins in that time and get the mount. So I'm going to go ahead and buy the mount and put an end to my Timeless Isle adventure. Although it has been very, very fun, and it has been enjoyable in many, many senses, and I don't know where to put this. I want to say that I think it's worth it. I think at this moment in time in the expansion, it gives you something to do other than PvP, and I'm waiting for the expansion to come out for Warlords of Draenor, and I think this is a good idea to get some more mounts on there. And obviously this is a very unique mount. I know it's got the same graphics as a Kodo, but it is one of the Mr. Pandaria mounts that look like that boss that you get, and it also can only be obtained, if I'm correct, from 2 sources, and that's the Brawlers Guild and here. I haven't seen anything else. I'm not sure that there is or isn't, to be honest. I know from PvP you can only get the Cloud Serpents, but this is a unique look and I really like it, and that's why I kind of wanted to do it. And obviously, God, it seems like such a lot of work, and it all went in one go. But as I say, I've got my mount, and I think it will be, it's been fun, to be honest. It has been really fun. I've been killing and creating friends and creating a lot of enemies. It's been really good as a Shadow Priest, and I know I probably wouldn't have enjoyed it as any other kind of class, because it's just the way Shadow Priest works. If you put all of that effort into kind of, you know, bursting, you really can get out a lot of damage, and people just are amazed at how much damage you're doing. And then you know, further to that, you couple it with Vampiric Embrace, and then Vampiric Embrace absolutely heals you to the max, and it just comes out looking so good. And they can't believe it, and then you get very, very upset and very, very kind of annoyed people sending you messages, making a character on my server from another server just to pass me a message of hate, which is good. That's fine. But that's the game, and that's why we enjoy playing it, and that's the competition. Wherever you are, you have this sense of competition. I think I'm gonna leave here in a minute because it's getting a bit congested and there's too many horde. So what I would do at this instance is literally Geist. That's the quickest thing I can do, and then just fly away, and that's it, guys. Thanks very much for watching this video. Please hit the subscribe button if you want to see more of my videos. I'll be making a lot more in the coming future, and look forward to showing you guys guides and a lot more in the upcoming expansion as well. Thank you for watching.